We'll open up the complete view by clicking on this button number 2 up on the upper left. As described here, Excel believes that all time started on January 0, 1900, and it saves that in the spreadsheet and works from that. The integer portion is the date, and the fractional portion is the time. 1 stands for January 1st, 1900. 2 stands for January 2nd, 1900. This allows us to deal with dates and times very easily and to subtract and find differences in dates. Let's take a look further. You will notice that time is saved as a fraction of a day. So when I'm recording this, it is 8:38 a.m. and that is shown as 0.360244 portions of a day. Now, not all systems have started their dates from January 0, 1900. Apple, for many years, started their date and time system in 1904. So what happens if you get a spreadsheet that was recorded with dates and times starting from 1904 and you're looking at it in an Excel spreadsheet that starts with 1900? All your dates are going to be off by 4 years exactly. Let's take a look and see how we can solve that problem if you do happen to run into this. Having said that, this is not a big problem anymore. Apple has been changing over, and so you probably won't have that problem unless you get an old spreadsheet. Let's go to File, Options, and there we'll do the Advanced and go quite a ways down near the bottom to where we see when calculating this workbook. Now, when you're calculating, it says to use the 1904 date system. If we were to click on this, from now on, all our dates will be off 4 years. But it will allow us to be compatible and to read old spreadsheets from Apple. We won't click it this time, but that way you know how to solve that problem if it does occur. Okay. Let's go back and look a little bit closer at how times are kept as fractions. You'll notice down here, 1 hour equals 0.041 2/3 of a day. 1 minute, you divide 1 hour by 60, and it's this fraction of a day. A second would be divided by 60, much smaller, and this time is accurate up to 1,000th of a second. That's pretty useful in almost anything you can think of doing. Let's next examine how we enter dates. You'll notice if I key in 6-18-11, Excel interprets that as June 18th, 2011, and not only puts it as that underlying number in the system, but formats the cell for me as 6/18/2011. Likewise, I can type out the full 4-digit year and I get the same results. Or I can use slashes, either with the 2-digit year or the 4-digit year. I can use a combination of the two, and I still get the same results. Also, if I type in June space 18, 2011, I get the same underlying results. But notice if I type in just June 18, it gives me June 18 of the current year, whatever is the current year on your computer. And it starts it as that number underneath. However, it formats the cell to only show 18th of JUN. Likewise, if I type out the full name of the month, JUNE 18, or 6/18 or 6-18, I can also type 18-JUN-2011. In that case, it gives me June 18th, 2011 and formats it we see here. Alternately, you also can start with the year 2011/6/18, and it understands that to be June 18th, 2011, and formats the cell as above 6/18, 2011. Now, there's some ways you may format it that will result only in text. If I say June 18 and no comma, but just space 2011, it says, oh, well, this must be a text field. Or you can see this in the other entries below. If you need a date prior to January 1st, 1900, or as the case may be, January 1st, 1904, you must enter it as a text. You cannot store it in Excel the way it is. However, your author notes that he has an add-in that you can put on your machine that will allow you to do this. Let's now look at entering times. You can enter times in the following formats. 11:30:00 a.m. It interprets that as 11:30 a.m. Likewise with the capital AM or PM, or if we just put 11:30. We can also use military time, or the time that is used throughout many places in the world, 13:30. That means 1:30 p.m. Note if you put 25:30, then it treats that as it's 1:30 a.m. the next day. In this case, we were working with January 0, 1900, so it treats it as January 1st, 1900 at 1:30 a.m. However, it only displays the 1:30 a.m. If you type in 12-31-2011 space 5:30:00 p.m., then the interpretation is both the date and the time is saved, and it will format the cell accordingly. Likewise, you can see this one where we use 25:30, that it's the next day that it will actually format and show. When you enter a two-digit year of 30 or 39, Excel interprets these as 1930 to 1999. You can see examples below. You will note in all of this that two things are very important when working with dates and times. First, the underlying number that you have in your Excel sheet, and then also how that cell is formatted, how it's going to display that underlying number. Let's take a look at some of the functions that are also available.